Since the day my grandkids were born, I was never allowed to see them. My son said, "It's better if they grow up not knowing who you are." I stayed silent and disappeared. Years later, when I bought a beachfront penthouse, he came with a bailiff to take it. I made one call, the one that changed his whole family's story. Before we continue, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to see how far our stories are reaching. But let me go back to the beginning, to the moment everything started to crumble. It was March 15th, 2024, exactly 3 days after I signed the papers for my beachfront penthouse in Charleston, the one I bought with the $980,000 I got from selling Monroe's Corner, the cafeteria I'd run for 40 years. 40 years of 5 a.m. mornings, burnt coffee smell in my hair, and minimum wage employees who became family. That money was mine. Every single dollar earned with swollen feet and arthritic hands. I was standing in my new living room, still surrounded by moving boxes, when I heard the knock. Not a friendly knock, the kind that makes your stomach drop before you even open the door. Patrick stood there. My son. 40 years old, wearing a suit that looked too big for him now. He'd lost weight, dark circles under his eyes. But what made my blood freeze wasn't his appearance. It was the man in uniform standing next to him. "Mom," Patrick said, not meeting my eyes. "This is Officer Bradley. He's here about the property." I looked at the officer, then back at Patrick. "What property?" The officer cleared his throat, clearly uncomfortable. "Ma'am, I have a court order here regarding this residence. There's been a claim filed that the purchase was fraudulent and that you're not mentally competent to—" "Not mentally competent?" The words came out sharper than I intended. "Patrick, what is this?" My son finally looked at me, and in that moment, I saw it. The shame, the desperation. And behind him, in the car parked on the street, I could see her. Sienna. My daughter-in-law. She was on her phone, filming everything. "Mom, you have to understand," Patrick started. "We're desperate. The business failed. We lost everything. Sienna said the cafeteria money was supposed to be family money, that you were being selfish." "Selfish?" I stepped back. "I paid $95,000 for your college, Patrick. I gave you $35,000 for your first house. I sent you $1,200 every month for 5 years. I paid $22,000 for your wedding to that woman. How much more was I supposed to give?" The officer looked down at his papers. Patrick's face reddened. "That's exactly what Sienna said you'd say," he muttered, making it all about money. I felt something crack inside me. Not break, crack. "Officer Bradley," I said, voice calm. "Who signed this order?" He checked. "A Judge Harold Morrison, ma'am." "I see." I took the papers. "You have 72 hours to respond, ma'am," he said quietly, then left fast. Patrick lingered. "Mom, if you just sign the property over to us, we can make this go away. Sienna has a lawyer who—" "Get out. Mom, get out." He left. I watched him walk back to Sienna's car. She kissed him, like they'd won something. I stood there holding those papers, truly alone for the first time. My husband Thomas died 15 years ago. Heart attack at 54. He never got to see this ocean view. I walked to the balcony. The Atlantic was gray today. I thought about Liam and Chloe, my grandchildren, 10 and 8 years old. I'd seen them twice. Once when Liam was born, once when Chloe was 2 months old. After that, Sienna cut me off completely. Toxic energy, she called me. I remembered Liam's 5th birthday. I drove 3 hours with $300 worth of presents. Sienna answered the door with that cold smile. "Helen, what are you doing here?" "It's Liam's birthday. We didn't invite you. It's better if they grow up not knowing who you are. You're too controlling." Through the window, I saw Liam wave at me. Sienna closed the door. I left the presents on the porch and cried the whole drive home. That was 5 years ago. 5 years of silence. 5 years of birthday cards I never sent. And now this. I called my sister Moira. "Helen, what's wrong?" Patrick tried to take my house. He brought an officer. Says I'm not mentally competent. Silence. Then, that son of a bitch, I'm coming over, pack a bag. After we hung up, I sat at my new kitchen table. 6 chairs. Room for family dinners I'd dreamed about. Stupid dreams. I opened my laptop, searched elder financial abuse and family fraud cases. I found an article, 10 warning signs of adult child financial manipulation. Every single point applied, $224,000. That's what I'd given Patrick over the years. Not lent, given. Because he was my son. 3 days later, Patrick texted, "Please, Mom, just sign the papers. We need this." "Don't you love your grandchildren?" Using my grandchildren as blackmail? I typed back, "The answer is no." Then blocked his number. That night, I couldn't sleep. Judge Harold Morrison. I'd never heard that name. I Googled him. No results. Next morning, I called Charleston County Courthouse. "I'm trying to verify a judge. Harold Morrison?" "Ma'am, we don't have anyone by that name. Would you like me to check with the state?" "Yes, please." 10 minutes later. "Ma'am, there's no Judge Harold Morrison registered in South Carolina." My blood went cold. The documents were fake. Patrick and Sienna had committed fraud. I sat down slowly. This wasn't manipulation anymore. This was criminal. I scrolled through my contacts until I found a number I'd saved 25 years ago. Marcus Webb, private investigator, the man who'd helped me when Thomas died and the police ruled it an accident too quickly. I'd never told Patrick about Marcus. Never told him his father's death might not have been simple. But I wasn't interested in easy anymore, Marcus answered. "Webb. Marcus, it's Helen Monroe. I need your help." A pause. "Helen, what's wrong?" "My son is trying to steal my house with forged documents, and I think his wife is behind it. I need to know everything about her. I'll be there tomorrow." I hung up and walked to my balcony. Sunset painted the sky orange and pink. Beautiful. But I didn't feel peaceful. I felt like a woman who'd been asleep too long. Sienna Vale wanted war? She was about to learn that grandmothers who built businesses from nothing don't go down quietly. 3 days later, Patrick appeared again. No fake officer this time. "Mom, we need to talk." I let him in but didn't offer coffee. We stood in the living room. "The court order was fake," I said flatly. His face went white. "Mom, Don't." I called the courthouse. "There is no Judge Harold Morrison. You and Sienna tried to intimidate me with forged documents. That's a felony." "It was Sienna's idea," he blurted. "She said you'd never check." "When did you stop thinking for yourself? When did you become so weak you'd commit crimes against your own mother? We're desperate. Do you know what it's like to have nothing?" "I know exactly what it's like," I said coldly. "I raised you alone after your father died. I worked 16-hour days. I wore the same 3 dresses for 5 years. I do know, Patrick. The difference is, I never stole from family." He was crying now. "Mom, please. If we don't get money soon, we'll lose the house." I walked to my desk and pulled out a manila folder. Marcus had delivered it that morning. "Do you know what this is?" Patrick shook his head. "This is everything about your wife. Did you know she has 3 bank accounts you don't know about? Did you know she's been transferring my money to offshore accounts? Did you know she's engaged to another man?" "What?" Patrick's face crumbled. "You're lying." I pulled out photographs. Sienna with a man in an expensive suit, kissing outside a Miami hotel. Date stamp, 2 weeks ago. His name is Daniel Ruiz, investment banker. They've been seeing each other for 6 months. Patrick stared at the photos, unable to speak. "She's planning to leave you," I said quietly. "As soon as she gets my penthouse. She'll divorce you, sell it, take half, and marry him." "No," he whispered. "She's using you," I said, voice softening. "Using both of us." Patrick looked up at me with broken eyes. "What do I do?" "You go home, and tomorrow night you bring her to dinner here. Tell her I want to make peace." "Why?" I smiled, not warmly. Patrick left looking confused and broken. The fake paperwork sat on my table. I walked to my fireplace, lit a match, and watched it burn. Moira arrived 2 hours after Patrick left. She came through my door like a hurricane, dragging 2 suitcases and a grocery bag filled with wine bottles. "Don't even try to send me home," she said before I could speak. "You're stuck with me until this is over." My sister. 3 years younger than me, but she'd always acted like the older one. Ever since Thomas died and she found me sitting in the dark, unable to turn on the lights because even that felt like too much effort. She dropped her bags and hugged me. Not a polite hug, a real one. The kind that says, "I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. Tell me everything," she said, opening one of the wine bottles without asking. So I did. The fake officer, the forged documents, the photographs of Sienna with another man, Marcus Webb's investigation, all of it. Moira listened without interrupting, which wasn't like her. When I finished, she poured herself a second glass. "I need to tell you something," she said quietly. "Something I should have told you years ago." My stomach tightened. "What?" "I've been watching Sienna for 3 years now, ever since she cut you off from the kids." "Watching her how?" Moira pulled out her phone and opened Instagram. She has a public account, the perfect wife, perfect mother stuff. But 6 months ago, I found something else. She showed me a profile. And Sienna Secrets, private account, 847 followers. "I couldn't get in at first," Moira said. "But I have a friend whose daughter is into influencer culture. She got me access using a fake account." She scrolled through the posts. My hands started shaking. Photos of Sienna in expensive restaurants, designer clothes I knew Patrick couldn't afford, hotel rooms with ocean views, and captions that made my skin crawl. Rule number 1, never marry for love, marry for security. A man who can't provide isn't a man, he's a liability. Currently upgrading, new model coming soon. "Moira," I whispered, "does Patrick know about this?" "I don't think so. She has him convinced she's working on a lifestyle blog. He probably thinks this is part of it." I scrolled further, found a photo from 2 months ago. Sienna wearing a diamond bracelet. Caption, "When he knows your worth. Dor blessed no, now my value." "That bracelet," I said. "Patrick told me he bought it for her birthday. Said it cost $3,000. Money he borrowed from his business partner." Moira shook her head. "Helen, look at the geotag. Miami Beach, the same place Daniel Ruiz lived. She's been planning this for months," I said, the pieces falling into place. "Maybe longer. There's more." Moira's voice dropped. "I did some digging, called some old nursing friends who work in Colombia. Sienna Vale isn't her real name." I looked up sharply. "What?" "Her birth name is Sienna Volkov. She changed it legally 8 years ago, right before she met Patrick." "And before that?" Moira paused. "She was married twice, both times to men over 60. Both marriages ended in divorce after less than 2 years. Both times, she walked away with substantial settlements. She's done this before. She has a pattern, Helen. She targets men who are vulnerable, financially unstable. Then she isolates them from their families, convinces them their relatives are toxic, and slowly drains whatever resources are available. When there's nothing left to take, she moves on." I thought about Patrick. How quickly things had changed after they got married. How Sienna had convinced him I was controlling. How she'd turned my grandchildren against me before they even knew my name. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" I asked. Moira's eyes filled with tears. "Because I was afraid you'd hate me for interfering. Every time I tried to bring up concerns about Sienna, you'd defend Patrick. Say he was happy. Say love makes people change." I thought maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was being paranoid. "You weren't wrong." I know that now. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. "Hello?" Silence. Then a woman's voice, young, nervous. "Mrs. Monroe? Helen Monroe?" "Yes. Who is this?" "My name is Ashley. Ashley Chen. I think I need to talk to you about Sienna Vale." I put the phone on speaker so Moira could hear. "How do you know Sienna?" I asked carefully. "She was married to my father 4 years ago, for 11 months. My heart started racing. "Your father was one of her ex-husbands?" "Yes, David Chen. He died 2 years ago. Heart attack. He was only 63. "I'm so sorry." "Don't be sorry yet," Ashley said, her voice hardening. "Mrs. Monroe, My father was healthy before he met Sienna. No heart problems, no medical issues, but during that marriage, he became a different person, anxious, depressed. She convinced him to cut off his entire family, said we were manipulating him. The story sounded horrifyingly familiar. After the divorce, he tried to reconnect with us, Ashley continued, but he was broken, financially ruined. She'd taken everything, his savings, his retirement, even the house my mother left him. He died alone in a one-bedroom apartment, and Sienna didn't even come to the funeral. Ashley, why are you calling me now? Because I saw the videos of her filming outside your house. She posted them on that private Instagram account of hers, bragging about how she's about to cash in big on a beachfront property. I recognized the manipulation tactics, and I thought maybe I could warn you. Thank you, I said quietly. Thank you for calling. Mrs. Monroe, there's something else. Something you need to know about my father's death. What is it? The heart attack. The doctors said it was strange. His blood tests showed extremely high levels of stress hormones, like he'd been in a constant state of panic for months. One doctor even suggested. She paused. He suggested that prolonged psychological abuse could trigger that kind of cardiac event. The room felt cold suddenly. Are you saying Sienna killed your father? I'm saying she destroyed him so completely that his body gave up. Is that murder? Legally, no. Morally. Ashley's voice cracked. You tell me. After we hung up, Moira and I sat in silence. She's not just a gold digger, Moira finally said. She's dangerous. Patrick doesn't see it. He can't see it. Because she's made sure he can't. Helen, this is worse than we thought. We're not just dealing with fraud. We're dealing with someone who's systematically destroyed multiple men's lives. My phone buzzed again. This time a text from an unknown number. Your son is in danger. Check Sienna Secrets tonight. Who sent this? I showed Moira. She frowned. Could be Ashley, or someone else who knows what Sienna's capable of. I opened Instagram, navigated to the private account. Sienna had posted something new, 20 minutes ago. A photo of Patrick sleeping. The caption made my blood run cold. Almost time to trade in this model. Served his purpose. Upgrading my life. Bye-bye. Next. Chapter. She posted this while he was sleeping next to her. I whispered. She has no conscience. None. Moira grabbed my phone. We need to show this to Patrick. No. What? Helen, he needs to see. If we show him now, he'll confront her. She'll deny it, delete everything, and disappear with whatever she can grab. We need to be smarter. I thought about Marcus's folder, the photographs, the bank statements, the evidence of Sienna's past. Tomorrow night, I said. The dinner. We'll have everything ready. Not just proof of her affair, proof of everything she is. Her real name, her past marriages, what she did to Ashley's father, all of it. And Patrick? Patrick will have to face the truth, in front of witnesses. So she can't manipulate him out of believing it. Moira nodded slowly. You're going to burn her world down. I'm going to show Patrick who she really is, before she destroys him the way she destroyed David Chen. The next morning, I called Marcus. I need everything you can find on Sienna Volkov, I said, also known as Sienna Vale. I need it documented, verified, ready to present, and I need you to be at my house tomorrow night at 7 p.m. What are you planning, Helen? A dinner party, small guest list, but I think it's going to be very memorable. I'll be there. Next, I called Father Tom. Tom, I need a favor. Tomorrow night, can you come to my house? Around 7:30? Helen, what's going on? I'm trying to save my son, and I need a witness. Someone Patrick trusts. Someone who can't be accused of having ulterior motives. A long pause. You're going to expose Sienna. I'm going to show Patrick the truth. Will you come? I'll be there. And Helen, I'll be praying for all of you. The day passed in a blur of preparation. Moira helped me plan the dinner. Roast chicken, Patrick's favorite. Mashed potatoes the way I used to make them when he was young. Apple pie with vanilla ice cream. You're really going all out, Moira observed. I want him to remember, I said. Before everything falls apart, I want him to remember what home used to feel like. That evening, Patrick called. Mom? Sienna said she'll come to dinner tomorrow, but she wants to know, are you really willing to negotiate? About the penthouse? I closed my eyes, heard the hope in his voice, the desperate, pathetic hope. Patrick, I'm willing to have an honest conversation. That's all I can promise. That's good. That's really good. Mom, thank you. I know things have been bad, but tomorrow night, 7 p.m., don't be late. I hung up before he could say anything else. Moira found me on the balcony an hour later, staring at the ocean. You okay? She asked. No. Tomorrow night, I'm going to destroy my son's marriage. I'm going to show him that the woman he loves is a monster, and he's going to hate me for it, at least for a while. Or he's going to thank you for saving his life. Maybe. Or maybe he'll choose her anyway. People do that, you know. Choose the lie because it's easier than facing the truth. Moira put her arm around me. Then we'll deal with that too. But Helen, you're doing the right thing. That woman is dangerous. And those children, Liam and Chloe, they need protection too. The children. I'd almost forgotten them in all of this. My grandchildren, growing up in a house with a woman who posted about trading in their father like a used car. Tomorrow, I said. Tomorrow everything changes. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about David Chen, alone in his apartment, heart giving out from months of psychological torture. I thought about Patrick's face when I showed him the photos, the devastation, and I thought about Sienna, sleeping peacefully next to him, already planning her exit strategy. At 3 a.m., my phone lit up. Another message from the unknown number. She's planning something for tomorrow. Be careful. I stared at those words for a long time before responding. Who are you? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Then, someone who got away. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about David Chen dying alone. By morning, I felt hollowed out. Like something essential had been scooped away, leaving only the shell. Moira found me at 6 a.m., still in yesterday's clothes, sitting on the kitchen floor with photo albums spread around me. Helen? I didn't answer, just kept turning pages. Patrick at 3, gap-toothed and laughing. Patrick at 7, holding his first-place spelling bee ribbon. Patrick at 16, awkward in his prom tux. Where did I lose him? Helen, talk to me. He was such a good kid, I whispered. So sweet. When Thomas died, Patrick sat with me every night for a month, made me tea, told me stupid jokes to make me smile. He was 24 years old and he put his whole life on hold to take care of me. Moira sat down beside me. I remember. So what happened? How did that boy become someone who'd forge legal documents to steal from his own mother? Sienna happened. But it can't just be her. He made choices too. He chose to believe I was toxic. He chose to keep my grandchildren from me. He chose to try to take my home. My voice broke on that last word. Moira pulled me close. Let me cry into her shoulder like I hadn't let myself cry since this whole nightmare started. I'm scared, I finally said. I'm scared that tomorrow night I'm going to show him the truth, and he's going to choose her anyway. I'm scared I've already lost him. You haven't lost him. How do you know? Moira was quiet for a long moment. Because I lost someone once, and I know what that actually looks like. I pulled back to look at her. What are you talking about? She stood up, walked to the window. You remember Marcus, my ex-husband? The one who left when Emma was 5? He didn't just leave, Helen. I drove him away. This was news to me. Moira had always said the divorce was mutual, clean, friendly. What do you mean? I mean, I was so busy being right about everything that I didn't notice I was destroying my marriage. He wanted to move to Portland for a job. I said no. He wanted to try counseling. I said we didn't need it. He begged me to listen, really listen, and I just didn't. Moira, by the time I realized what I'd done, he was already gone, remarried. I haven't spoken to him in 12 years. Emma barely remembers him. That's what losing someone actually looks like, Helen. What you have with Patrick, that's salvageable. That's fixable, because he's still here. He's still trying, even if he's doing it all wrong. I thought about Patrick's face yesterday. The shame in his eyes. The desperation. What if I can't fix it? Then at least you tried. At least you fought for him. That's more than I did. We sat in silence for a while, 2 sisters who'd spent too many years not talking about the things that mattered. I never knew, I finally said. About Marcus. I didn't want you to know. You were dealing with Thomas's death, raising Patrick alone, trying to keep the cafeteria running. I didn't want to be another burden. You were never a burden, and Patrick isn't a lost cause. I wanted to believe that. I really did. Around noon, I tried to eat something, managed half a piece of toast before my stomach rebelled. Moira watched me with worried eyes but didn't push. I was sitting on the balcony watching the waves when the doorbell rang. Moira went to answer. I heard voices. Then, "Helen? You need to come here." I walked to the entrance and froze. Sienna stood in my doorway, alone. She looked perfect, as always. Designer jeans, crisp white blouse, hair in a casual ponytail that probably took 30 minutes to achieve. She smiled when she saw me. "Helen, I hope I'm not interrupting." Every muscle in my body tensed. "What are you doing here?" I wanted to talk, before tomorrow night. Woman to woman. She looked at Moira, privately, if possible. "Absolutely not," Moira said. "Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of me." Sienna's smile didn't waver. "Of course, I understand you're protective of your sister. That's admirable." She walked past us into the living room like she owned the place, examined the space with calculating eyes. "Beautiful penthouse," she said. "Patrick told me what you paid for it. Quite an investment. What do you want, Sienna?" She turned to face me. The smile was gone now. "I want to make this easy on everyone. You don't want a legal battle. I don't want a legal battle. So let's be smart about this." "Smart how?" "Sign the property over to Patrick. In exchange, you get to see your grandchildren. Regular visits, birthdays, holidays, everything you've been missing." I stared at her. "You're offering to sell me access to my own grandchildren?" "I'm offering a solution. Patrick is drowning in debt. We're about to lose our house. Your little penthouse could solve all of that. And you'd get what you want, time with Liam and Chloe. And if I say no?" Sienna's expression hardened. "Then you'll never see them again. I'll make sure of it. I'll convince Patrick you're dangerous, unstable. I'll get a restraining order. And those kids?" She shrugged. "They'll grow up thinking their grandmother was a crazy woman who abandoned them." Moira stepped forward. "Get out." "I'm not done. Get out of my sister's house before I call the police." Sienna laughed. A cold, brittle sound. "The police? For what? Having a conversation? Please." She walked to the door, then paused. "You have until tomorrow night to decide, Helen. But just so you know, Patrick will choose me. He always does. Because I give him what you never could. Unconditional love." "You mean unconditional manipulation," I said quietly. "Call it whatever you want. The result is the same. He's mine." She left. I stood there shaking. Moira locked the door behind her. "That woman is evil," Moira said. "Pure evil. She's confident. Too confident." "What do you mean?" "She came here alone, threatened me, made demands. Why? Why would she risk tipping her hand before tomorrow night unless—" I trailed off, a horrible thought forming. Unless what? Unless she's planning something. Something for tomorrow. Something that makes it so she doesn't need to worry about what I know or what I can prove. Moira's face went pale. "Helen, what could she be planning?" I thought about the text from last night. "She's planning something for tomorrow. Be careful." I grabbed my phone and called Marcus. "Helen? Everything okay?" "No. Sienna just showed up at my house. Alone. She threatened me, tried to blackmail me, and left like she doesn't have a care in the world. Marcus, I think she's planning something for tomorrow night." "What kind of something?" "I don't know. But she's too confident, too comfortable. Like she knows something we don't." I heard papers rustling on his end. "I'll dig deeper. See if she's made any unusual purchases, contacted anyone suspicious. In the meantime, you need to be careful. Maybe postpone the dinner." "No. If I postpone, she wins. She scares me off. And Patrick never learns the truth." "Helen? Marcus, there's something else I need you to look into." "What?" I took a breath. This was it. The thing I'd buried for 25 years. My husband, Thomas Monroe. He died of a heart attack in 2009. I want you to pull the medical records, the autopsy report, everything. Silence. "Helen, are you saying—" I'm saying David Chen died of a heart attack after months of psychological abuse from Sienna. And my husband died the same way, right around the time Patrick started dating her seriously. Jesus. I never questioned it. The doctors said stress, genetics, bad luck. But Thomas was healthy, happy. We were planning to expand the cafeteria. And then suddenly, in the span of 6 months, he became anxious, depressed, paranoid. What changed 6 months before he died? Patrick introduced us to his new girlfriend, said he was serious about her, wanted us to get to know her. I remembered that dinner. Sienna had been charming, sweet. She'd complimented my cooking, asked about the cafeteria, told Thomas how lucky Patrick was to have such wonderful parents. 2 weeks later, Thomas had his first panic attack. A month after that, he couldn't sleep. 3 months in, he was on medication for anxiety. And 6 months after meeting Sienna Vale, my husband was dead. You think she was involved? Marcus said carefully. I think she's been doing this for a long time, and I think she's very, very good at it. I'll pull the records. But Helen, if what you're suggesting is true, then tomorrow night isn't just about saving Patrick. It's about stopping her before she kills someone else. After I hung up, I found Moira on the balcony, arms wrapped around herself. Did you hear? I asked. She nodded. Thomas, you think Sienna? I don't know what I think anymore, but I'm going to find out. Helen, this is bigger than we thought. This isn't just fraud. This isn't just manipulation. If she was involved in Thomas's death, then she's been in our lives for 16 years, slowly, carefully destroying everything, and we never saw it. The sun was setting. The sky turned pink and gold, beautiful and terrible at the same time. Tomorrow night, I said. Whatever happens, it ends tomorrow night. Moira reached for my hand, squeezed it. I'm not leaving you, she said. Whatever comes, we face it together. That night, I did something I hadn't done in years. I prayed. Not for revenge, not for justice, just for strength. Strength to face whatever truth was coming. Strength to save my son, even if he didn't want to be saved. At midnight, another text came from the unknown number. She knows you're investigating. She's moving up her timeline. Be ready. I typed back, Who are you? This time the response came immediately. Sienna Volkov's first husband, the one she told everyone was dead. I'm alive, and I'm coming to your dinner tomorrow night. The doorbell rang at 9 a.m., too early for Patrick and Sienna. I opened it to find a man in his early 60s, tall, thin, with gray hair, and the kind of tired eyes that come from seeing too much. Mrs. Monroe, I'm Robert Volkov, the first husband, the one who was supposed to be dead. Come in, I said, stepping aside. Moira appeared from the kitchen, drying her hands. She froze when she saw him. Robert sat at my dining table and pulled out a thick folder. I need you to understand something before we start. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to stop her from doing to your son what she did to me. What did she do to you? I asked. He opened the folder. Police reports, hospital records, bank statements. We married in 2006. I was 53. She was 22. I thought I'd won the lottery. Beautiful young woman who claimed she loved me. He laughed bitterly. 3 months in, she convinced me my brother was stealing from my business, showed me evidence, forged documents. I cut him off completely. Isolation, Moira murmured. Then came my sister, my parents, my business partner. One by one, she manufactured reasons for me to push them away. By month 6, she was the only person in my life. I knew this story. Different details, same pattern. She drained my account slowly. 50,000 here, 30,000 there, always with a good reason. Her mother was sick. Her friend needed help. Investment opportunities. I didn't question it because I loved her. What happened? I asked. One night I woke up and couldn't breathe. Heart attack. I was in the hospital for 3 days. The doctors said I was lucky to survive. He paused. While I was in that hospital bed, my brother showed up, the one I'd cut off. He'd been tracking Sienna, had proof of everything she'd stolen, everyone she'd manipulated. And Sienna? She disappeared, cleaned out what was left of my accounts and vanished, filed for divorce while I was still in the ICU. left a note saying she couldn't be married to a weak man who couldn't handle stress. The cruelty of it took my breath away. It took me 3 years to find her again. By then, she'd changed her name to Sienna Vale and married David Chen. I tried to warn him. He didn't believe me, called me a bitter ex-husband making up lies. David Chen is dead, I said quietly. Robert closed his eyes. I know, heart attack, just like mine, except he didn't survive. And you think? I think she's a serial killer who's figured out how to murder people without leaving evidence. Psychological warfare until the body gives out. It's the perfect crime. Marcus arrived at 10. I introduced him to Robert, and they shook hands like soldiers preparing for battle. I pulled Thomas Monroe's records, Marcus said, laying out papers on the table. There are irregularities. My hands started shaking. What kind of irregularities? The autopsy was rushed. Single examiner, no second opinion. Toxicology screen was incomplete. They only tested for common substances. And here's the interesting part. The examining doctor? He lost his medical license 2 years later for accepting bribes. Oh God, I whispered. I can't prove anything, Marcus said carefully. But the circumstances are suspicious enough that we could request a re-examination if we had cause. How long had Patrick been dating Sienna when Thomas died? Robert asked. About 8 months? Robert nodded grimly. That's her timeline. 6 to 8 months. That's when she's fully embedded, fully trusted. That's when people start dying or disappearing from her life. I thought about Thomas in those final months, how he'd changed, the anxiety, the depression, the paranoia that everyone was judging him, how Sienna would visit, and Thomas would always feel worse afterward. She was poisoning him, I said. Not with drugs, with words, with manipulation. That's her weapon, Robert agreed. She finds your weakest point and presses until you break. Father Tom arrived at noon, followed by Marcus's associate carrying camera equipment. We're recording this? I asked. Everything, Marcus said. Audio, video, multiple angles. Whatever happens tonight, we'll have documentation. Moira started preparing dinner. The roast chicken, mashed potatoes, apple pie cooling on the counter. The house filled with familiar smells. I was peeling carrots when my hands started shaking so badly I had to stop. Helen? Moira touched my shoulder. What if this doesn't work? What if he chooses her anyway? Oh, then at least he'll know the truth. The rest is up to him. At 5 p.m., I received a text from Patrick. On our way. Sienna's excited about making peace. I almost laughed. Excited about making peace. She had no idea what was coming. Marcus checked the cameras one last time. Robert sat in the spare bedroom, ready to emerge when needed. Father Tom positioned himself in the corner, a silent witness. At 6:45, another guest arrived. Daniel Ruiz. He was younger than I expected. Early 40s. Handsome in that expensive way. Perfect teeth, salon tan, tailored suit. Marcus had convinced him to come by telling him there was a business opportunity regarding beachfront property. Mr. Ruiz, thank you for coming, I said. Of course, though I'm confused about the timing. Your associate said this was a business dinner? It is. You'll understand soon. He looked uncomfortable, but stayed. At 7 p.m. exactly, the doorbell rang. I smoothed my dress, the navy blue one Thomas always loved, and opened the door. Patrick stood there with Sienna. My son looked thin, exhausted. Sienna looked radiant. Mom, Patrick said, attempting a smile. Thank you for doing this. Come in. They entered. Sienna's eyes swept the room, taking inventory. She saw Moira and her smile tightened slightly. Then she saw Daniel Ruiz. For just a fraction of a second, her mask slipped. I saw shock, then fury, then calculation. The mask snapped back into place so quickly I almost thought I'd imagined it. Mr. Ruiz, she said smoothly. What a surprise. Patrick looked between them, confused. You two know each other? We've met, Daniel said carefully. His eyes were on Sienna, and he looked uncomfortable. At a charity event, I believe. Something like that, Sienna said. She turned to me. Helen, you didn't mention you were having other guests. Didn't I? How rude of me. Daniel is considering investing in some local properties. I thought he might be interested in hearing about the area. The lie was smooth. Practiced. Sienna didn't believe it for a second, but she couldn't call me out without revealing how she actually knew Daniel. Shall we sit? I gestured to the dining table. We arranged ourselves. Patrick and Sienna on one side, Moira and Father Tom on the other, Daniel at the end, me at the head, where I could see everyone. I served the chicken, passed the potatoes, poured wine. Every movement deliberate, calm. Patrick ate nervously. Sienna barely touched her food, watching Daniel with the intensity of a cat tracking a mouse. "So, Patrick," I said, "tell me about work. How's the real estate business?" He shifted uncomfortably. "Slow. Market's tough right now." "I'm sure it'll pick up," Sienna said quickly. "Patrick's very talented." "He is," I agreed. "I remember when he sold his first house. Called me at midnight, so excited he couldn't sleep. Do you remember that, Patrick?" My son's eyes softened. "I do. You drove over with champagne. We stayed up talking until 3 a.m. You were 26, so full of dreams." Sienna's hand found Patrick's arm, possessive. "He still has dreams. We have dreams. Together." "Of course." I turned to Daniel. "Mr. Ruiz, do you have family? Divorced, no children, looking to settle down again?" He glanced at Sienna. "Perhaps, with the right person." Patrick frowned. "This is a weird conversation." "Is it?" I took a sip of wine. "I think family is always worth discussing. Wouldn't you agree, Sienna?" "Absolutely." "Tell me about your family, your parents, siblings. Patrick's mentioned them so rarely." Her smile froze. "My family isn't close. We had a falling out years ago." "How unfortunate. Over what, if you don't mind my asking?" "I do mind, actually." Her voice had an edge now. "Helen, I thought we were here to discuss the penthouse situation, not interrogate my personal life." Patrick looked between us, confused and increasingly uncomfortable. "You're right," I said. "Let's discuss the penthouse. You want me to sign it over to Patrick, to solve your financial problems, to help your son," Sienna corrected, "to be there for family when they need you. The way I was there when I paid for his college, the down payment on your house, the $200 monthly deposits for 5 years. That's different. The way I was there when I sent birthday gifts for my grandchildren that you threw away, when I drove 3 hours to see them and you slammed the door in my face." Patrick's face reddened. "Mom, we talked about this. You were being controlling. Was I? Or is that what Sienna told you to believe?" "Helen," Father Tom said quietly. "A warning." But I was done being quiet. "Patrick, do you know who Daniel Ruiz is?" My son looked at the man at the end of the table. "An investor, you said. He's also your wife's fiancé." Silence. Complete, utter silence. Patrick laughed nervously. "What? That's crazy. Sienna and I are married." "Show him, Marcus." Marcus emerged from the kitchen with his folder, laid photographs on the table. Sienna and Daniel kissing, entering hotels, shopping for rings. Patrick stared at the images. His face went from confusion to disbelief to devastation in seconds. "Sienna!" His voice cracked. "What is this?" She recovered quickly. "Those are fake, photoshopped. Your mother is trying to turn you against me." "The photos are real," Daniel said quietly. "I'm sorry, Patrick. I didn't know she was married. She told me she was divorced." Patrick turned to Sienna, really looked at her. "Is this true?" "Baby, listen to me. Is it true?" She stood up. "Fine, yes. I was seeing Daniel. Because you're a failure, Patrick. You can't provide for your family. You can't even stand up to your own mother. I needed someone strong, Sienna. But I was willing to stay," she continued, voice cold. "If your mother signed over that penthouse, I could have sold it, split the money with Daniel and disappeared. You would have been better off without me anyway." Patrick looked like he'd been slapped. "There's more," I said quietly. "Marcus?" More papers. Bank statements showing the offshore accounts, the transferred money, the forged signatures. "You've been stealing from me," Patrick whispered. "For years. I was protecting our future." "Our future? You just said you were planning to leave me." Father Tom stood up. I think perhaps we should all take a moment. No, Patrick said. Mom, is there more? Just tell me everything. I looked at my son, this broken, devastated man who'd once been my sweet boy. There's more, I said. But Patrick, you need to sit down. He sat. Moira moved closer to him, instinctively protective. Sienna Vale isn't her real name, I began. It's Sienna Volkov. She's been married multiple times before, always to men with money, always ending with them ruined or dead. Dead? Patrick's voice was hollow. Robert, I called. The bedroom door opened. Robert Volkov walked out. Sienna's face went white. Pure, stark terror. Hello, Sienna, Robert said calmly. Surprised? You told everyone I was dead. Patrick looked between them. Who are you? Her first husband, the one who survived. And that's when Sienna ran. She bolted for the door, but Marcus was faster, blocked her path. You're not going anywhere, he said. The police are already on their way. Patrick turned to me, his eyes full of tears, confusion, betrayal. Mom, what's happening? What's going on? I knelt beside him, took his hands. I'm saving you, I said softly, the way I should have years ago. Sienna stood trapped between Marcus and the door, her chest heaving. The mask was completely gone now. What remained was raw, calculating fury. You think you've won? She laughed. You stupid old woman. Patrick will never forgive you for this. Never. Sienna, stop, Patrick said quietly. No, she's trying to destroy us, baby. Can't you see? This is all manipulation. Fake photos, fake witnesses, fake everything. Your mother has always been jealous of our happiness. Stop, Patrick repeated, louder this time. He stood up, swaying slightly. Just stop talking. Sienna's expression shifted, softened. She moved toward him, but Moira blocked her path. Patrick, please listen to me. I love you. Everything I did for us. For our family. Our family? Patrick's voice broke. You kept my children from their grandmother for 5 years. You convinced me my own mother was toxic. You made me. He couldn't finish. Because she is toxic. Sienna's voice rose. She's controlling, manipulative. She wanted to own you, own us. I was protecting you. By stealing from me? By planning to leave me? By telling people I was a failure? I never said... I heard you, Sienna. Just now. You called me a failure. Said I couldn't stand up to my own mother. Patrick's hands were shaking. And you know what the worst part is? You were right. I couldn't stand up to my mother, but I couldn't stand up to you either. I let you turn me into someone I don't recognize. Patrick, I cut off my own mother, the woman who raised me alone, who worked herself to exhaustion to give me a future. I looked her in the eye and told her she couldn't see her grandchildren. Do you know how much that hurts to remember? Tears were streaming down his face now. Sienna reached for him. Baby, we can fix this. We can start over. Just tell your mother you forgive her. Sign the papers and we can... Forgive her? Patrick stepped back. Forgive her? Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He turned to me and the look on his face, pure, devastated remorse, broke something inside me. Before I could respond, the doorbell rang. Marcus answered. 2 police officers entered, followed by a young woman I didn't recognize. Ashley? Robert said quietly. Ashley Chen, David's daughter. She looked at Sienna with barely contained rage. That's her. That's the woman who killed my father. I didn't kill anyone, Sienna snapped. David had a heart condition. He was perfectly healthy before he met you. The medical examiner's report said his stress hormones were at toxic levels. Levels consistent with prolonged psychological torture. One of the officers stepped forward. Sienna Vale, also known as Sienna Volkov, you're under arrest for fraud, identity theft, and grand larceny. This is insane, Sienna said, but her voice wavered. I want my lawyer. You'll get your call at the station. The officer pulled out handcuffs. Sienna's eyes locked on Patrick. If you let them do this, we're done. You'll never see your children again. I'll disappear, and you'll spend the rest of your life wondering where they are. Patrick went rigid. What did you say? You heard me. The kids aren't at home right now. They're somewhere safe. Somewhere you'll never find them unless... Where are Liam and Chloe? Patrick's voice was deadly quiet. Sign the penthouse over to me, drop all charges, and I'll tell you. That's kidnapping, the officer said. You just confessed to kidnapping in front of multiple witnesses. Sienna's face went pale as she realized her mistake. Actually, Moira said, stepping forward with her phone, the children are at my house, with my neighbor Susan, who's a registered childcare provider. I picked them up this afternoon. You what? Sienna lunged at Moira, but Marcus caught her. I have a temporary emergency custody order, Moira continued calmly. Signed by Judge Morrison, the real one, not the fake one you invented. Given the evidence of fraud, manipulation, and your threat just now about hiding the children, the judge agreed they needed immediate protection. Patrick looked at Moira, then at me. You have my kids? We have your kids, I corrected gently. They're safe. They've been safe all day. Something in Patrick's expression crumbled. He sat down heavily, put his head in his hands, and sobbed. The officers handcuffed Sienna. She fought them, screaming, This isn't over. You think you've won? I'll destroy all of you. Patrick, tell them. Tell them I'm your wife. Tell them. You're not my wife, Patrick said quietly. Not anymore. I don't even know who you are. They led her toward the door. She turned back one last time. You'll regret this. All of you. I already regret it, Patrick said. I regret every day I believed you. The door closed. The house fell silent except for Patrick's muffled crying. Father Tom moved to sit beside him. Son, breathe. Just breathe. I can't believe Patrick couldn't form words. I knelt in front of him, took his face in my hands the way I used to when he was small and had nightmares. Patrick, look at me. He met my eyes. His were red, swollen, broken. I forgive you, I said. You shouldn't. Mom, I don't deserve. I forgive you, I repeated. Not because you deserve it, because you're my son, and because I know what it's like to be manipulated by someone you love. Dad, Patrick whispered. She did something to Dad, didn't she? I glanced at Marcus. He nodded slightly. We think so, I said carefully. We don't have proof, but the timing, the symptoms, it's too similar to what happened to David Chen. To Robert. Patrick's face went from devastation to rage. She killed my father? We don't know for certain, but you think she did. He stood up abruptly. That woman, that thing, was in our house for 16 years? Around me, around my kids, and she... He couldn't finish. Robert approached slowly. Patrick, I know what you're feeling. The guilt, the shame, the anger. I lived with it for years. How did you survive it? By accepting that I was a victim. That being manipulated doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And by doing what you're doing now, facing the truth, protecting your children. Patrick looked at me. Can I see them? Liam and Chloe? They're at Moira's house. But, Patrick, they don't know what happened yet. They think they're having a sleepover with their aunt. What do I tell them? We'll figure that out together, I said. You, me, Moira, as a family. The word seemed to break something loose in him. Patrick dropped to his knees in front of me. Mom, I'm so sorry. For everything. For believing her lies. For cutting you out. For trying to take your house. For keeping Liam and Chloe from you. For... Shh. I pulled him into my arms. Let him cry into my shoulder like he used to when he was 7 and his goldfish died. When he was 16 and his first girlfriend dumped him. When he was 24 and we buried his father. I've got you, I whispered. I've always had you. Moira joined us, wrapping her arms around both of us. Then Father Tom, even Marcus and Robert stood close, creating a circle of protection around my broken son. We stayed like that for a long time. Eventually, Patrick pulled back, wiped his eyes. I need to see my kids. I need to tell them their grandmother, their real grandmother, is back in their lives. We can go now, Moira said. They're probably still awake. We drove to Moira's house in 2 cars. Patrick rode with me in silence, staring out the window. Mom? He said as we pulled into the driveway. Yes? How did you know? About Sienna? I didn't, not at first. But Marcus investigated and the evidence was overwhelming. And honestly, Deep down, I think I always knew something was wrong. I just didn't want to believe my own son would choose someone like that over me. I'm an idiot. You're human. She's a professional manipulator, Patrick. She's been doing this for decades. You were just one more mark. That doesn't make me feel better. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to help you forgive yourself. We got out of the car. The front door opened, and two small figures came running out. Daddy? Liam and Chloe crashed into Patrick's arms. He fell to his knees, holding them tight. Hey, guys. Miss me? Aunt Moira said we're having a special sleepover, Chloe said. And guess what? She said tomorrow we get to meet someone really important. Patrick looked up at me over their heads. Yeah? Who's that? Your grandmother, I said, stepping forward. Liam frowned. But Mommy said Grandma was… Your mother was wrong about a lot of things, Patrick said gently. But Grandma is here now, and she loves you very much. Chloe looked at me with wide eyes. Are you really our grandma? I nodded, not trusting my voice. Why haven't we met you before? That's a long story, sweetheart. But I'm here now. And if you'll let me, I'd like to be part of your life from now on. Chloe studied me seriously. Then she walked over and hugged my legs. Okay, but only if you know how to make cookies. I laughed through tears. I know how to make the best chocolate chip cookies in Charleston. Then you can stay. Liam was more hesitant. He stayed close to Patrick, watching me carefully. Daddy, why are you crying? Because I'm happy, buddy. Happier than I've been in a long time. Because of Grandma? Yeah, because of Grandma. We went inside. Moira had set up sleeping bags in the living room for the kids. They were excited about the adventure of sleeping somewhere new. As I tucked them in, something I'd dreamed about for 5 years, Liam grabbed my hand. Grandma? Yes, honey. Are you going to leave again? The question stabbed through me. No, sweetheart. I'm not going anywhere. I promise. Mommy says people who promise things always lie. Not me. When I promise something, I keep it. He seemed satisfied with that, released my hand and snuggled into his sleeping bag. After the kids fell asleep, Patrick, Moira, and I sat in the kitchen drinking coffee. What happens now? Patrick asked. Now you rebuild, I said. You get a lawyer, file for divorce, fight for custody. With what money? I'm broke, Mom. The business is failing. I have nothing. You have me. And we're going to figure this out together. I can't ask you to… You're not asking. I'm offering. That penthouse has 3 bedrooms. You and the kids can stay with me until you get back on your feet. Patrick's eyes filled again. You'd do that? After everything? You're my son. Of course I'd do that. He reached across the table and took my hand. I don't deserve you. Probably not, I said with a small smile. But you're stuck with me anyway. Moira squeezed his other hand. We both are. Family doesn't give up on family. Patrick looked between us. I missed so much. 5 years of my kids' relationship with their grandmother. 5 years of your life, Mom. How do I make up for that? You don't. You just move forward. We all do. Later, as I was leaving, Patrick walked me to my car. Mom? Thank you for not giving up on me. I could never give up on you, Patrick, even when you gave up on yourself. He hugged me, a real hug, the first genuine one in years. I love you, Mom. I love you too, baby. Always have, always will. I drove home with tears streaming down my face. But for the first time in 5 years, they were good tears. 3 months later, I woke to the sound of small feet padding across hardwood floors. A moment later, Chloe's face appeared beside my bed. Nana? I had a bad dream. I lifted the covers. She climbed in, curling against me like a kitten. Her hair smelled like the lavender shampoo I'd bought her. Want to talk about it? I whispered. Mommy was in it. She was yelling. I stroked her hair. It was just a dream, sweetheart. You're safe here. I know. That's why I came to you. 5 minutes later, she was asleep. I lay there holding my granddaughter, something I'd dreamed about for 5 years, and felt grateful in a way that made my chest ache. The penthouse had transformed in 3 months. Patrick's things mixed with mine. Liam's superhero posters on one bedroom wall. Chloe's collection of stuffed animals taking over another. The kitchen table I'd bought for 6 now actually seated 6. Me, Patrick, Moira, who visited most days, and the 2 grandchildren who'd become the center of my world. At 7 a.m., Patrick emerged from his bedroom looking tired but cleaner than he had in months. Therapy was helping. The dark circles were fading. He'd gained back some weight. "Morning, Mom." He kissed my forehead, saw Chloe asleep beside me. "Bad dream?" "She's okay now." He made coffee while I extracted myself from Chloe's grip and joined him. "Interview today?" I asked. "Yeah, property management firm downtown. It's not much, but it's steady. Steady is good. Steady is survival." He sat across from me. "Mom, I've been thinking. I need to talk to you about something." "Okay. I want to start paying you back. For everything. The money I took, the years I stole, all of it. Patrick, let me finish. I know I can never actually repay what I cost you, but I need to try. I need to know I'm not just taking anymore." I reached across and took his hand. "You're not taking, you're healing. That's enough, is it? Because some days I wake up and I can't believe what I did, how I treated you, how I let that woman," he couldn't say her name, he never could anymore. "You were manipulated by a professional. Robert, David Chen, probably dozens of others. She destroyed them all. You survived. That matters. Did I survive?